Welcome to what I hope to turn into the first of a short series of Warship building tutorials. So we're going to talk about building warships for the Movecraft plugin, and I'm also giving you a sneak peek at some warships that I'm going to be introducing to the Airship Pirates series in a little while. These are all made with the new technologies that Bellamy was talking about at the end of episode 25 in that little teaser where he talked about better cannons, better armor, and all that stuff. So this is just a teaser. I'm going to be releasing these later, but this is the Corvette Mark III. This is the Destroyer Mark III, and that over there is a battle cruiser. And these are all using these new standardized turrets. And I've designed these turrets to make it easier for players to put them into their own designs. So these are sort of standard stock armaments. They can be modified, but they work just fine in their current state. If you do mod the guns, you may get a little bit more punch out of them, a little bit more range maybe, but I'm going to leave that up to you. This is basically the stock models that you can use for your own designs. And they are very effective, even in the stock designs, especially when compared to older guns. So, okay, alright, enough talk, let's blow things up. So this is the smallest of the turrets, obviously. This is the gun that's on that cruiser, that Corvette. And let's just fire this thing. I have all of these guns set for their maximum range. Okay, and boom! There it goes. Okay, and as you can see, I got to about 120. Each of these marks is 10 blocks. That is pretty good. I mean, you look at the size of that gun. That gun is tiny. And for comparison purposes, the Trident used to shoot about 60. This shoots double that with that tiny, tiny gun. So this is all possible with the new technologies that we have available to us in 1.8. Basically, the water pushes the propellant until it is less than half of a block from the projectile. So the propellant is right next to the projectile when it fires. That allows us to get a lot of range out of this thing. And it also allows us to make a very compact design. You see how it's right next to it? Yeah, I mean it is just right on top of it. Okay. So that is the WST. So I'll be giving you schematics for all of these turrets. This is the WST, the DST, and the CST. WST stands for World's Smallest Turret. Okay, now we have the Destroyer gun. That's the Destroyer right there. Got 4 of these turrets, as well as a torpedo turret. Anyway. And let me show you this thing's range. Okay. Boom! And you see it's also a very flat trajectory. Okay, we're going to go way out there, and look at that. 180. That is crazy range. And it's not a very big gun, considering the kind of range you got. Now that one, just like the WST, shoots 2 shells. The cruiser gun, has a lot more punch. And fire this. It also has a more advanced fire mechanism. Boom! And we can see it fires a whole scatter of shots all the way. Oh, look at that. The furthest one is past the end of the board. So this is beyond the useful range that it's possible to have. Now that's not always true. Here's what I mean. So Minecraft will only render things up to a certain range, and so you're shooting off the map if you shoot further than that, except if you're shooting at a target and someone is piloting it, then it will still hit. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is, you can fire this gun and you may not even be able to see the target and still be able to hit it. The other nice thing about these guns, all of these guns have adjustable trajectories. So that was the greatest range. I'm now going to remove clicks from this repeater. So I'm going to go there. That's the next one down. See how there's now only 1 click on it? Push that. you can see it was a much lower shot, did not travel as far, and so you would use this if you were concerned about shooting over your target. Then I'm going to put it on its lowest range, like that. Now there is 0 clicks on that repeater. And this would basically shoot down. Okay, and as you can see, very close range. You really would use this mostly if you're above the target and you need to shoot down at it. Alright, so this gun is very complicated, and all of these turrets, I'll be honest, they're kind of hard to make. I don't expect most players to be able to figure out how to make their own turrets, because it's complicated. You have to get the timing exactly right, and you have to get the position of the dispensers exactly right. And this gun is just crazy complicated. You have these pistons that have to move up at the right time, move down at the right time. It's just, yeah, don't even try. Just use these standard guns and then mod them to your own needs. If you want some more firepower, you might be able to figure out some ways to make that happen. All right, so let's talk a bit more about this. So each schematic has the gun itself, a timing mechanism, and then wiring. This is to demonstrate the best, what I feel is the best way to wire it in. And then this is a timing mechanism that you would install on your bridge. And then, of course, the turret itself. You'll note the timing mechanism for the big gun is a lot smaller. Why? Because there's more logic inside the gun, so I don't need as much logic outside of the gun, because that gun's more complicated. Alright, and another thing you might be wondering, so what's with all of the gray wool? Okay, so gray wool will not merge with a turret. So this gives you a base plate that you can put inside your airship, and it shows you sort of the range at which you have to be careful of what you place in there. So while dark gray wool will not merge with a turret, light gray wool will. So you want to put your light gray wool beyond the edges of this gray wool. And I'll be showing you that in a moment. Okay, so those are the guns. They're very cool. Now let's talk about making a warship and putting these turrets in it. So we need a starting point for our warship. So I'm going to do /1, pause 1, / pause 2, / set wool orange. I'm just going to use orange wool as my marker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a wire frame for the airship, and then I'm going to fill it in. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these shaders. So it looks great, but I find it more difficult to design airships and build them with the shaders on than with them off. So I'm just going to get back in with no shaders. And here we go. Alright, so there's that block I placed. Now, you want to create a line so that's going to be the length of the ship that I'm going to create, 28 blocks. Then we're going to create a framework for the nose and the tail. So the nose should be relatively blunt. I'm going to give it, 6 blocks in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to start the width axis. The width is only going to be 4. This is going to be a small ship. Then the height is only going to be 3. And then I'll do the same on the other sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll do the back. So aerodynamically, you should have a relatively blunt nose, but a more gradual arc on the tail. That's to prevent turbulence from forming in the wake and slowing down the ship, at least in the real world. Of course, it doesn't happen in Moonecraft, but I like it to look right. Okay, so I'm going to make this 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and again, I will go out 4 on this side, 3 on this side, 4 on this side, 3 on this side. Okay, and that looks basically right. So those are the confines I want my airship to be in. Now, I need to punch out a block so I can access the center. Then I'm going to do / cell space ellipsoid. Okay, and by the way, this is all requires world edit. As it says right there, I'm going to left click on the center, and then I'm going to right click on the various extents. The left, right, front, top, and bottom. I'm going to make this one out of dark gray wool so that I won't have to worry about my turret merging with the craft. Okay, there's the nose. Now I will do the same thing on the tail. And the rear. And then once again, set wool gray. Or you can simply do gray. It's the same thing. Alright, so now I have a nose and a tail, and now I'm going to merge them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, let's see, first I have to do / cell back to extend, which is the one I normally like to use, and then left click, right click on the extents. Okay, and down here I'm going to do a cut just so that I make sure I have the right section copied, which I do. Then I'm going to undo my cut. And I'm going to copy, go down a little bit, paste, oops, paste, go down over here, paste, go over here, paste, and one more time. Okay, so there's the basic form or shape of my airship. Now, I want to think about where I'm going to have the guns and where I'm going to have the bridge, or the gunnery tower. So, these are all designed in the Goliath standard, which is you have a tower on the middle, and then the guns on the top deck. That has proven to be very effective, because the tower on the middle allows you to look around, see the status of your own ship. You can see how much damage you've taken. You can see which of your guns are still in action and which aren't. And it allows you to see where the enemy ships are as well. So that tower has been just very useful. And so we're going to stick with it. So I'm going to put my bridge on the middle. Now this is a tiny, tiny ship. What we're making is going to be an attack boat. So very small. So I'm not going to have a big tower. I'm just going to have a bridge basically sitting right here, not elevated above the hull. Then I'm going to have one gun forward and one gun aft, and that's all I'm going to do for today. Alright, so which gun am I going to use? Of course, that small one. These others are too big. But they all work basically the same way. So what I'm going to show you would work with any of them. Alright, so I need to load up my turret schematic. So I'll do / schem load WST. That's the turret I'm going to use. And paste it. And I've got the turret itself, and then I've got the timing mechanism. And I'm going to paste it twice. Okay. On one of the copies, I'm going to remove the timing mechanism. I'll do this one because I've already accidentally removed half of it. So I'm just going to right-click on all of these. Be careful not to include the actual gun. Set air. Then I will do this last bit. Except, see that redstone torch? That triggers the weapon. We do not want to remove that redstone torch. So we remove the wires leading up to it. There. Now we have a clean gun ready to be pasted into the craft. And as I say, this is very important. People miss this sometimes. Leave in these two orange blocks and that redstone torch. You've got to have them. All right. Then on this one, I only want that timing mechanism. So I'm going to cut out everything else. So I'm just right-clicking on all of the extents to remove all this other junk. Okay, so that I only have the timing mechanism. Let's talk very briefly about how this actually works. So you push this trigger, and the output is this orange block. So I need a signal from this orange block to that orange block in order to operate the cannon. The range is adjusted using this mechanism, which I already showed you over there. So that's the lowest range, then highest range, then highest range. And if you go this high, your shells will explode in the air, but it can be helpful if you're shooting at a target above you. So I said it was range. It's actually gun elevation. So this controls the gun elevation. I'll have it on the lowest setting for now. Alright, I think we're just about ready. So I'm going to copy this turret. So I am once again just right-clicking on all of the extents. Need to make sure I get that block on the bottom or it won't work. Okay. Alright, and I'm going to stand on the gray wool directly behind the gun to get a good idea of where I want it pasted. I'll show you what I mean. So I hit / copy, then I go to the ship, stand where I want it pasted. I'll do right there. Yeah, that should give it a frame. I will do / paste -A, telling it not to paste in air, so that it will kind of merge cleanly with the ship. And there we go. Beautiful. That worked great. And I'm gonna. You can take off the gray blocks. You can't take off blocks that are not gray on the turret schematic. So those blocks are safe to remove. All right. So I've mounted my first gun. I'm just gonna do a quick test, make sure it works. By right-clicking on here, and yes, it turned right. Left-click. Yes, it turned left. Turned left. Okay. So I'm good. Everything looks like it's working. Now, I'm just going to copy that turret again. I'm just going to turn it first, like so. And because I already had everything else selected, I only have to right-click right here, because the rest of it was already in my selection area. And I will copy that. Then I'll go back to my little attack boat that we're making. And I think I want it right about here. And I will paste -A. And there we go. Now I have my aft gun. And again, I will trim this so that it conforms to the ship contours. Alright, last step is I need to get in my trigger. So I'm going to left-click that, right-click all of the extents until I have selected this timing mechanism, and I'm going to stand right here, copy it, and now I need to think about once again where I want the bridge. I want it in the middle, but I want my my gun control to be a little bit aft so that I have room to put other controls in the front. So I'm going to put it, well, yeah, I'm going to put it one block forward because I don't want to be too close to that gun. Well, yeah, I'll put it right here. I'm sure this is fine. Okay, and there is my activation mechanism. Alright, now the hard part, wiring. I get asked at least 3 times a day, hey, please come help me with my wiring. Problem is, wiring can take hours for a big ship, so I feel it's better if I just show you how it's done. You're going to need a potion of night vision, which may sound odd, but bear with me. Okay, so I'm going to type /GM3. Now you can only do this in 1.8, but it is a really useful tool for making airships. So now that I've gone into spectator mode, I can go inside the ship and look at its internals. Alright, there's not much in here right now. Now, because you'll know it's really dark, right? It's hard to see. That's why the night vision potion. So let's drink that. Okay, now if I go back in there, yeah, we can see much better. And we can see the timing mechanism and the wiring that makes that timing mechanism work. And we can see over there, that's the trigger for the forward gun, and back there, that's the trigger for the aft gun. So we look for that orange block, and oh, there it is. Okay, that's the orange block. I need a wire to go from here to there and to there. Alright, so now we know where we are heading. So let's go back up top, and let's start cutting away. The other really useful thing about that GM3 mode is it allows you to see if what you're about to chop away already has wiring on top of it. So let's say, for example, okay, I'm thinking about chopping out that block, right? But I'm not sure. I know there's some wiring around here somewhere, and I'm worried that I'm going to cut through it. So I'm going to hit GM3, And I'm going to look above it. Oh, no, there's nothing there. Okay, it's safe to chop into that block. See how that works? That can save you a lot of headache. Alright, I am going to put it back, though. Because I didn't need it gone. But that was just a demonstration. Okay, alright. So, we need a wire going forward and a wire going aft. So that's starting the wire going aft. That's starting the wire going forward. And then, let me just take another look at where we are going. Okay, alright, so there's my start. And I can see, okay, so I need it to go down a little bit. You see that? I need it to go down 2 blocks. And I need it to go to the left 1 block. And that's how you do it. You kind of plan it out. Okay, alright. Let's make that happen. So, oh yeah, one more thing. So you could just do an actual wire. I could mine out all of the wool in between my trigger and my gun and just have a bunch of redstone wires like this, right? You could do that, but that's incredibly wasteful. An alternative is, as we have done with the wires on the demonstration, on the schematics, you have a repeater and then a block, and then redstone and then a block, and then a repeater and then a block. Why do you do that? So that half of the blocks on the wire are actually wool, which will generate lift. And you'll find that when you're making warships, every little bit of wool counts. You've got to have just the maximum lift you can possibly get out of this. Alright, and then if you need to go down, you just have the repeater going into the block, and then the redstone underneath it. That allows us to go down. Now we want to go sideways. So you can, that redstone will power that block, so I can put a repeater here. Alright, let's see, does that put me on track? I think I need to go down 1 more. Yeah, because I actually need to power the bottom of the redstone torch. So I need to go down 1 more block, no problem. And there we go. Now it should be a straight shot back to the actual trigger. And there it is. Okay, there's my orange trigger block. So we go redstone, repeater, redstone. There we go. That's it. That will power that block. Now we're going to test it. Make sure my wiring is good. Am I going to hit something? Yeah, I think I'm about to toast that that gun emplacement over there. But hey, that's half the fun, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, that looked good. Boom! Oh, and I did not, in fact. In fact, I hit the destroyer behind the gun. Aw, poor destroyer. It never had a chance to be built. Okay, so yeah, so that worked great. So my wiring is good. Now we're going to go wire the front gun in exactly the same way. So GM3. Okay, once again, I need to go down 2 and over 1. So I'm basically doing exactly the same thing. Okay. So we're going to go down. And then we're going to go over. Okay, and then we need to go down 1 more. Okay, now it's a straight shot to the trigger. There's the trigger. Okay, and okay. Let's say, just for sake of argument, that it hadn't matched perfectly. What I mean is, every other block happened to line me up right at the actual trigger. But let's say that instead it ended like this, and there were 2 blocks. Well, obviously I can't do redstone and then wool again, so you just do something like this. You know, repeater going right into a redstone. That works fine. But again, for that extra lift, I'm going to fill as much in as I can. Okay, that should activate the forward gun. Okay, let's get out of here, and let's test that. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to hit anything. I'm going to have this one on the highest elevation. I'm wondering if I should be concerned about what this gun is going to hit. Sure, I'll turn it. Turn it that way. Maybe I'll hit that. Okay. And that looks good. Yep, that one works fine. And there goes the other. Okay. So both of my guns are now wired in and working fine. Alright. Now I'm going to fill all of this wool back in, because obviously we don't want to... So the only reason I chopped this down in the first place was to gain access to this area so that I could put in the wiring. Now that I'm done, I don't need access anymore. Okay. Alright, and then the aft sections. Okay. Alright. So my guns are wired and I've put everything back into place the way it's supposed to be. Oh, I'm just realizing perhaps I do need wool underneath this. I was saying it was safe to remove it, but I appear to have been mistaken. Alright. Well, no problem. I'm going to put it back. There'll just be a slight bulge on the hull. Okay. Did you see why? Because that pressure plate was levitating in midair, which means if anybody ever caused a block update right there, it would have fallen and broken the gun. There. Now if I rotate this again, yes, the pressure plate is no longer standing on midair. Alright. Anyway, so yeah, always check things. Okay. So, I've got the basics. Now, my ship still needs engines. So, those are redstone blocks, if you know Movecraft well. I'm going to make this entire back plate engines. And in fact, I'll just use World Edit. Set 152, which I happen to know off the top of my head, is redstone. What I have here may look odd, but it should actually fly. So, I'm going to do /pilot airship. Apparently, I don't have enough engines. Alright, fine. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to slap on a few more of these. Obviously, if this was a design that I was going to take more seriously, I might try to make this look pretty. I'm not going to bother. This is just to show how to do the wiring primarily. Okay, there we go. So the ship is now basically functional. Alright, now we're going to do fire guns as well. Even though I've done that in previous videos, but still, I think it's good to have sort of a refresher. Especially since there's some new things that we can do to use less weight. Alright, the first thing is put a little bit of distance between your fire guns and the gun trigger. I figure, well, that's probably enough. For this ship, I'm going to have one set of fire guns for each side. Then, right beneath that, I'm going to put the trigger. Or, I'm sorry, the redstone that the trigger will activate. Alright. Now, let's see. Just, okay, I'm going to... Where am I on the ship? Roughly midships. Okay. So, I'm going to have a comparator headed that way. Oh, shoot. Alright, now I finally got that gun I was after earlier. Okay, so what happened was I did not obey my own instructions and I put my lever too close to the control for the guns. So instead of moving the lever, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go that way. Yeah, it should work. Okay. And then we need, if you know how these comparator clocks work, we just do... There we go. Now I'm getting that oscillation that we want. Okay. Alright. So that's my basic clock mechanism. And if I were to put a dispenser right here... it would start firing. You hear that clicking? Alright. Okay. Now, I want to put in the wiring to set up additional dispensers all along the body. So I'm just going to knock out these blocks to make it easy to see what I'm doing, and I'll put these back in later. Same on the other side. Okay. And then I will knock out every other block. And I will fail at doing so several times, apparently. Alright. We'll do that on the other side. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to do, once again, alternating repeaters, then redstone, then repeater, then redstone, repeater, redstone, and so on and so forth. And the same thing in the other direction. Okay, now if I turn this on again, I should see all of these repeaters flashing. Except that I don't. I see what I did. Yeah, my apologies, let me fix this. So, these should be one lower. So this redstone will power the block down there. And what I should have done... Alright, let's see. So I'm just going to replace all of this with wool again. And the same in the aft. Alright, and let's try this again. Okay. So I need to draw power from this block, not the one above it. Like that. Okay, alright, alright. Once again, knock out every other block. And again on the front. Okay. Put in all the redstone. And all the repeaters. Okay, now let's test it. There, that's what I wanted to see. Okay, so each of these blocks is being powered with a clock. So I can put a dispenser next to any of those blocks, and that dispenser will fire. And let's do so. Alright, now I want to think about this a little bit, because I want to have some kind of spacing. So I could go, let's see, there, there, there. And there. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a dispenser on every other available block. So, you know, some people put just a zillion dispensers on their ship design, but it's a waste of ammunition and it causes server lag. To me, once you get past a certain point, adding more dispensers really doesn't do anything. You know, the difference between a million shots and 1.5 million really is not that much. Alright, and that sound is annoying, so I'm just going to turn this off. Wow. Okay. Alright. Now I'll cover this back up. Let's see, how do I want to handle this? I think for now I'm just going to use a slack. Well, no, I'll use stairs. So what I need, if I just put a block in there, it will cut that wire. So instead, I'm going to put stairs right there, but they'll be upside down and power will run through them. There, power will run through that. There, that should work. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to do that same basic mechanism on the other side. So what I'm going to do, and to save time, so I'm just going to copy this whole thing. Okay, stand on the middle of the ship, copy, flip, west, paste. Okay, that should set up the guns on the other side. The only thing it won't do is a bit of this clock will be missing. So we need that. And I'm pretty sure I sent it this way. And then redstone. I'll chop that away just so you can see. Redstone like that. And now all of these should be working. And they are. Excellent. Okay. So, I now have a warship that I have made, perhaps not the world's best warship, but a warship nonetheless, that has 2 cannons and a bunch of fire guns, or repeating guns. Now, you'd typically get in here and you'd replace a bunch of these with armor. You could use any inflammable block that's part of an airship. It's common to use hardened clay, which is 159. I'll make this, yeah, sure, gray. And you'd go through here and you'd replace as much of this wool as you could with armor, just so that people can't easily set you on fire. A ship this small, you're not going to be able to get... I just realized I didn't want to do that. So this is what I get for trying to talk and work at the same time. I actually wanted to replace wool with 159 gray. There, that's better. I'm sure I did the same thing on the other side. Yep. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, so you want to get as much of your ship as possible armored, but on a ship this small, you will not be able to get the bottom, I suspect. So I will often leave the bottom unarmored on a ship this small. Okay. And that would, it would be time consuming for me to get all of it, so I'm just going to do some of the basics. Get this high part right here. And same thing on the other side. And then the top deck. Okay, except that's going to merge with that turret. So gray has the possibility of merging with the turret. So instead of gray, I'm going to use brown for this top portion. And there we go, which means this part also needs to be brown. Okay, and this part also needs to be brown. Okay. Now let's make sure the turret still turns. Which it does not, which means we screwed something up. Oh, I see. I changed some of the wool inside the turret. Normally, you should probably do this by hand without using all these replaces, which is the lesson I'm learning right now. So I get to undo a lot of this. Okay, try this again. Alright, so it's still saying it's obstructed. So this is a opportunity for me to show you something. So let's say you get in trouble, you screwed up your turret, you're not sure what you did, but somehow you screwed it up. Okay, what do? Well, you just recopy it again. Because it's not worth the hassle to hunt down the problem. You could spend an hour looking for where the block overruns, and it's just a waste of time. So just grab it from the original, and this is for the aft turret, copy, and paste it. Oops, I apologize. No. Paste it with -A. Paste -A. There. Alright, now it should work. And it does work. Okay. And this time I will, more carefully, go in by hand using brown clay, which has no danger of merging. And I can already tell that's what the real problem was. See that? It replaced that block, which was previously a gray block and would merge. Now it isn't. Okay. Now does it still work? Yes. Alright, this is another step you need to take. When you're hardening your ship, make sure you turn the turret, because different wool will be facing when it's turned. So then go back over it and make sure once again that all of the armor is covered. Okay. And looks like there's just a few more right there. And now we're good. Okay, now that has been hardened. We do the same thing over here, except let's see if I can just do this block. If this doesn't work, I'll simply go copy it again. But it did work. Alright, and now that I know what was going on, I feel much safer just using the replace command. You do have to spell it correctly, however. Fail. It was probably slower than doing it by hand. Oh well. Okay, and then the rest of this. Alright. Once again, we want to turn this. That would be a very unfortunate direction for the turret to face, wouldn't it? Yes. So I think I need to put some posts in place to keep the turret from facing that way. Okay, that looks good. So to prevent the turret from facing that way, I'm going to take 2 of these and put one right there, one right there. Now the turret can no longer... Oh, let's see, can it turn? Yes, it can. Okay, good. Are those going to pick those up? Yes, it is. Alright, so we need to put our posts a little further away, like... There. There. That should prevent the turret from turning all the way around. Yes, it will not turn any further. Okay. And you might make this part of your bridge, like put a wall right there. It's a common way of doing it. Okay. There we go. Alright. Now does my airship still fly? Yes, it does. Good. Now, there's some pieces I'm missing, right? Like, I should replace all of that with armor. I should replace the nose with armor. But in the interests of time, I'm going to say let's just keep going. Because I've shown you the basics of what I wanted you to see with the wiring, but I also want to show you how to make remote signs so that you can turn those turrets. So I'll now take out a sign. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to replace these default Subcraft Rotate turrets, which only work if you actually are standing here and right-click on the turret. we're going to replace those with a remote sign pair. Okay, so you can't punch out the sign itself, so you punch out the block it's sitting on and replace it. And then let's put that sign back on. And this time we will say subcraft, rotate, turret, and that was all what it said before, except this third line is now going to be unique. We're going to put for turret. Okay, now it still works. I can still right-click on it and turn the turret, but now it has been tagged with that string, for turret. I'll do the same thing on the back. Okay, subcraft, rotate, turret, aft turret. Alright. Okay. And then I need to put on the other side of that pair. So this will say remote sign for turret. And that's what triggers the plugin to realize that when you right-click that sign, it should act as if you right-clicked that sign, because they both say for turret on it. Same thing over here. Remote sign aft turret. All right. Now, before I can, let's see, can I use that now? Yeah, I can. Okay. Alright, now I need a few more signs. I'm going to put up, let's see, I'm just thinking of what color to do this in. I guess I'll use nether brick. Well, now that I think about it, let's make this just a little bit bigger. There, that should be enough. I'll put the helm in the middle. This is standard Movecraft stuff. You have to have a helm somewhere. Then you have to have the airship command sign, attack boat. And then cruise off. Okay. Right-click the helm, it turns into the actual helm. Right-click this, I take command of the vessel. Right-click this, and it says you're out of fuel. Yeah. Okay, so another thing I need to add is the actual furnace. I'm going to make this as a minimalist ship, so I'm going to make this my furnace. Okay. There I go. And now my ship should work. And off we go. And let's test the guns. So let's see, we're going to shoot over the range there. So we're going to go right click to turn that gun, left click to turn the other gun. Now they're both facing the right way. I'm going to go for a low shot, so I'm angling down. Pull the trigger. Uh-oh, one of the guns did not fire, so we get to do some troubleshooting. Another valuable learning experience. First thing I'm going to do is take a quick look down there and see if anything has changed. So I'm going to do GM3 and poke my head in. Alright, I need, I can't see very well, so I need to take my night vision once again. There we go. Now I'm going to poke my head in again. Alright, what's going on? Okay. So that looks fine, that looks fine, and that looks fine. Huh. Alright, well, so that didn't immediately resolve the problem, so I take it to the next step, and I am going to take the TNT out of the guns, at least out of the... Oh! Oh! That's the problem. Yeah. Okay, the gun's not going to fire without any TNT in it. But you know what? I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway, because I need to show you guys how you do troubleshooting. Because that is probably the hardest part of this whole thing. How do you figure out what's wrong? So, okay, so let's say that these did have TNT in it, and the problem was in the wiring somewhere. So you take the TNT out so that the gun is safe. I'm going to take it out on this side too. Now I'm going to take it out of only the projectile because I know that the propellant is actually already safe. Alright, now I'm going to replace this button with a switch. Alright, what does that do? That allows me to turn this on. Now I can follow the path, and yes, it ejected the propellant over here. That's just going to explode harmlessly, and that's fine. Now if I poke my head in again, I can actually watch where the wiring goes. Okay, so I look at all of the lit up stuff, and okay, so the signal comes out here, it's going down there, and the wire is going down there, and let's say that there was a break somewhere. Like one of these was not lit. The ones before it are lit, but the ones after aren't. Well, okay, now I know where the problem is. I just go in there and I fix it, right? So that's how you troubleshoot, at least the cannons. And you troubleshoot these guns the same way. You just turn them on, poke your head in there, and you can actually see what's going on with the wiring. See how that works? Very, very handy tool. It does require 1.8, but it definitely is much better than the old method you had to use for troubleshooting. Alright, but as I've explained before, we actually already knew what the problem was. We just needed some TNT. Okay. Okay, that should be all of them. Let's try this again. There we go. That's better. Oh. Alright, and look at that range too. Oh, that's just... For newer players, this is probably no big deal, but it used to be the guns just did not shoot very far, but now they shoot a long ways. And that was even the lowest setting. Oh. Way out there. Okay, alright, so there you have it. We have a working warship. Built it in just about an hour, and showed you how to troubleshoot, showed you how to set up wiring, and showed you how to use these new turret schematics. So I'm hoping you guys are going to make some amazing creations with this, and I look forward to seeing them. If this video has been helpful, please like it and subscribe, and have a good day.